Welcome to our podcast, Untangled Roots. Have you ever asked yourself the question, why am I here? Well, if you have, welcome to the starting point of the best part of your life. Hi, I'm Jamie.
And I'm Cassie. Join us as we share our perspective from our personal journey of untangling from everything that we're not. Let's go, truth seekers. Let's dive in. Hey guys, what's happening?
Hey guys.
So we're here to talk about a real heavy emotion. It's real heavy.
You're doing great.
Okay. So
welcome to episode 3 of the Untangled Roots podcast, where I'm Jamie.
I'm Cassie.
And we just like to talk about learning as we go in this crazy world of Untangled Roots.
So today we're going to tackle the beginning of our first series. So we're going to be doing a series on shame. And we're just going to be doing a couple podcasts on shame because there's a lot to unpack. And so we just kind of wanted to kind of break it up a little bit. So shame, that's a really heavy word. And I want to start out by just like reading the definition of it so we can kind of get on the same page about what is shame, right? Mm-hmm. So shame is a painful feeling of humiliation or distress caused by the consciousness of wrong or foolish behavior. Okay. And so
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Do we need to go into the difference between shame and guilt?
Ooh.
Because
that's good. Okay.
That just came up to me.
Okay. So we just read shame, and I will read the definition of guilt here because it is very similar. So don't confuse the two. So guilt is the fact of having committed a specified or implied offense or crime.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, that's really interesting. What came to me?
A feeling of having done wrong or failed in an obligation.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and the reason I bring that up is because I think that my story that I'm going to share is the balance between I did something bad, which is guilt, and I am bad, which is the heaviness of shame. And that's why it's the heavy topic. So that's the only reason why I brought that up.
So to tee us off, Jamie's going to share a little story that we're really calling ourselves out here. It's vulnerable to talk about this stuff because we're going to use our life experience here and we're going to be real.
I know. I'm kind of nervous.
Okay. That's all right. Just be free.
Yeah, no.
We all mess up.
When we were talking about like what we want to talk about this podcast, like I just lived this last week. Okay. So
this is fresh.
Yeah, it's fresh. But it was really, really eye-opening to me. The story goes as such. Okay? Okay. Basically, I was not aware that I was pre-menstrual cycle. It was in that time of my cycle where I had no idea. Even though you logically know that like you're about to start your period, but emotionally you just get mad and irritated and like all the things. And in that moment, I couldn't piece together that that's what had happened. And so, last week, it was, my family went through a funeral. My grandpa passed away, and we had our service, which in and of itself is like a super heavy topic.
Right.
And bunch of emotions on my side for that. And I basically did not do a good job monitoring my own social battery. And I got to the point to where I don't know, tell me if I need to tell more details. Am I doing it okay, John?
You're fine.
So I got to the point to where I had spent a lot of time socializing and being in go mode of doing things with my family. And I didn't click that I needed a breather. And so I got to the point to where everyone was looking at me and asking me questions and like saying like, what do you want to do? And it was 8:00 at night. And in my system internally, I was on complete overwhelm. And what happened was I said, don't look at me. Don't talk to me. Don't ask me questions. And
you probably weren't grinning.
And I was not grinning. I was not grinning at all. And my poor sister took the brunt of a lot of it, or at least saw me in that state, which, Krista May, if you watch this, I love you very much, and thank you for your grace and patience. You're an amazing human being. But this was really, really eye-opening because my sister was visiting, and this is where the shame piece comes in. So I was in the midst of this trigger, and in me being like super irritated and super mad. I didn't necessarily know what I was feeling. I didn't get that I was like overwhelmed, but I wanted out. My heart wanted out. Like, I wanted... My sister was we were supposed to have a slumber party in my room. We were supposed to like have a little special slumber party in my room, but my trigger and my emotions prevented that from happening. And she was leaving in a couple days. And so my heart was just like, I was just in this like total, like, it made me really sad that my emotions, the way that I handled them, which was blow up and freak out basically, interrupted my special time with my sister. Because we don't live near each other, and she had traveled in. So anyway, I was super sad and I was like super conflicted. Anyway, I was like doing my best to try and like fix it. It was a lot of energy, and it took some time to process it. And what I learned was, where I felt like I was dealing with a lot of shame, was because of how I learned that, anyway, I guess I'll pause because I know I need to breathe. Do you feel like I missed anything?
No.
Okay. The part where I feel, I'll share my story. I'm gonna let you talk.
No, you finish.
No, because I have kind of a summary of shame that, like, I feel like it's more of my message of takeaway. So we're ready for it? Mm-hmm. Okay. Am I ready for it? Yeah. So basically what I learned was, that because I had the outburst, because I had this emotional eruption, because I like made my emotions someone else's problem, basically, when I emoted onto them who were in the room, which was my family, and just like I blew up. I blew up, and I made it, what I learned was I made it their problem, which made my time with them, even because I made my emotions something that they had to process before they could be right with me, before they could feel okay with me. Do you see what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Like, my family had to process their own emotions about my process, and that length of time, my heart wasn't willing. I was sad that I put that on them because our time together was so short. I don't know.
Right.
I feel like I'm trying to. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Like,
yep.
I was so sad, and that's where I was feeling shame, or I was struggling with shame and feeling like I could get back into my flow and in where I wanted to be with my family, which was like in it with them. And I learned. This is what I learned. I learned that when I did that, I gave my power away. I gave my power to them, which made my future experience hang with me, which made my future experience of my family, of my life, of the people I love, of my relationships, it put my power in their hands for me to wait for them to be okay to receive my love again.
Yep. Oh, that's so deep.
And so I was like, so what I learned was that in those moments now, when I'm overwhelmed, the most loving thing I can do for myself is to take care of myself, because not only did I have to manage the trigger, I then had to carry the weight of wondering what they think of me afterwards.
It's exhausting.
Is what I'm saying. Like, so I was like, no, the most loving thing for me to do is to take care of the ones I love, which means learn how to process it myself, because I don't want to, because future Jamie is eventually going to come out of this trigger. Future Jamie is eventually not going to feel super hormonal, emotional, tired, tapped out. Future Jamie's going to be rested. What is that rested Jamie going to have to face when she comes out of that trigger?
Right.
And it's like, so that was like a huge aha for me. And it was like, no, the most... In the moment, I want to emote, and I want someone to feel the pain with me. Honestly, I want them to take it from me. I want it to not be mine. I want to not feel it. I don't want to be the only one feeling it. I want everyone to feel crappy, because I'm feeling crappy anyway. Sorry, I don't know if we can cuss, but that's just, in those moments, you're just like, get it off of me. And I was like shaking on everyone else, and I'm learning that actually hurt me worse.
Yeah.
In the long run.
Yeah. So
I need water.
So that's so good because, I mean, what you said about, that was so deep, how you said about that they have to process.
Yeah.
That whole thing I resonated with because she's kind of talking about hormones, and I feel like
that's just one example.
One example. We're going to dive in.
Infinite that all of us struggle with.
Yeah. So since we're kind of talking about hormones, something came to mind to me, actually, to share. So, you know, I've had a lot of babies, and after you have a baby, your emotions are up, down, all around. And when you're pregnant, like anytime your body's going through a change, like hormonally, like our hormones dictate like a huge part of our life. Like it's crazy.
It's wild.
So getting on track with them, and you know, maybe we'll do a podcast on hormones later.
Maybe
we will be. But anyways, so it's so important to be able to track and kind of figure out where you're at, because now I have a little app that I use, so I know exactly where my cycle's at. And I know when I'm going to be feeling kind of that way. Because I have gone through several instances in my life, whether it be after having a baby, before, just in a menstrual cycle, whatever, to where, you know, as women and men, if you're watching this, you could learn from this too. Because I'm sure, you know, if you're with women, a woman, you need to know this, like literally,
just women in your life.
It's a real thing. Like all women, I feel like we don't talk about this enough, and there's so much shame around hormones and around cycles. And basically my personal experience with hormones is kind of what you've explained, where basically not listening to my body to where I just need to rest and tap out and be alone. That's why in the old days, right, when like the Native Americans, they would like have these tent days where if anyone was on their cycle, all the women would cycle together. They'd leave because it's like, and I'm like, dude, that'd be nice, like vacation, right? But anyway, so basically some of those cycles looked very similar as to what you explained, to where, you know, it's the process of having a freak out initially about who knows what teed it off. None of it's logical, right? It's hormone based in this situation. And so it's like a freak out where mean things are said, or where I'm just tapped out and I yell. Wow. And then, right. And then afterwards, like, for me, it hits pretty quick. Like before it took a little bit, but like now it's like instantaneously the shame hits me like a brick. Yeah. And so I'll recognize it quicker now. And so I'm grateful that tells me that I'm learning to like quickly resolve it and just be like, you know, I'm so sorry. That was my hormones. And I actually named my hormones, okay? We've got Dante and Frankie. Frankie's a B word. And Dante just don't give about anything. So anyway, I put names to the hormones because it actually helped me. It's and I'm all about helping people out. If that can help give you a tool to deal with a shame.
I'm like trying to think if I would name mine.
Think about the name. I don't know. Yours is, yeah. It'll come. But basically what would happen is a freak out or like a lash out, and then just instantly flooded with shame. And the feeling is like this, and I'm sure you can probably resonate with this. It's a feeling of, okay, I can say sorry, but that's not going to cut it.
It doesn't fix it.
Yeah, sorry
doesn't fix it. And that's what I'm saying. It felt horrible.
It's awful.
It felt horrible to like it was now someone else's responsibility, and everyone processes differently.
Right. And I'm like, wait, I have to wait for you to hold a grudge.
I have to wait for you to feel better about me.
Yeah. For like 2 weeks.
Because I made my emotions your problem.
Oh. It's so bad.
It sucked. It sucked so bad. It sucked so bad. Like, it was such a huge lie.
Yeah, that's so bad, because then it goes, okay, you say sorry.
and then you have to wait.
And then you're like, okay. And then they're like, okay, I forgive you. But then it's like, okay, but
they don't feel like it's like, we're good.
It's almost like
this
they're so leery.
Feel good.
They're like, is she going to freak out again?
Is she going to do it again?
Yeah. Yeah, they're like, their guard's up now. They're like, okay, she's like, the monster's out. Like, she's going to come at me again. And all we want we just want cuddled. Yeah. We just want hugged. I'm like, I just want to know that it's okay.
To be like, hey, it's okay. It was literally the most helpful thing looking back. It's like, if I had a like emotionally, words and blankets, just be like, it's okay. Like wrap it around. It's okay.
It's okay.
You're
we all
tired.
make
You're
mistakes.
probably really tired.
Yes,
Yeah,
and
you're
just
probably really tired.
understanding.
Yeah, but no. But just fair, because if people lash out at me, I'm like,
dude, back up.
yeah. I'm like, ugh. So anyway, that which yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully this can bring some insight to just your relationships and just conversations you have with people, because I feel like we do need to be more mindful of that. That people, like, it's about grace, right?
Yeah.
Having grace, and you know, and I feel like undoing that shame is, you know, it takes time. It takes a lot of time. And I think that over time, if you have some good tools in place and awareness, then it gets quicker each time. But dude, the shame around hormones. And
I do feel like the main message that I want to say, it's not even just hormones. Like with women, yeah, obviously that's major. And don't even ask me if I have a future plan for knowing how to handle that in the future.
Right.
Don't. But what I do know is that I learned the heart message of, and this is like my heart, what I really want to instill, like pass along, and I feel like it's helpful, is the piece that me, in the moment, it might have felt better to emote on other people, but in reality, that was just putting future Jamie in a place to feel guilt and or shame of hurting the ones that I love.
Yeah.
And that was like the biggest eye-opening thing for me. Like I feel like that will shift my behavior in the future. And that was the nugget that I wanted to share with this series.
Thank you for sharing.
So
anyway, we're going to dive in, you know, in further episodes. But for now, we'll just leave you with this and just kind of let you kind of reflect on your own life. And kind of think about, you know, it's good to think about. Yeah. I feel like it's good to sit and think about different areas of our life. So if you like what you heard, subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you guys next time.
Yeah. Bye, everybody.